Hi, this is Gail Stolzenberg, and we just finished a presentation for the Houston Energy Corridor Rotary Club. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, and so I'm recording the presentation again in a Zoom session. Let me get to the share the screen. Slideshow. Okay, so we're up here. Um, the title of the presentation is Wellness, Wealth, and Wisdom. And this is Carlo Sosa, who is the president of the Houston Energy Corridor Rotary Club, and he is introducing me. And this is what he had to say. I know it's a lot of verbiage, but my background is a certified professional networker, so I do speaking and writing and some coaching. I am a certified neuro-linguistic programming trainer. I was the BNI Houston West Education Director for a number of years. And I've written a number of books. One of them is called Connections to Clients. I've also emceed some Olympic Games, and I'm a 7th degree black belt in the sport of judo, and I've owned several health clubs. So we were looking at health as the starting one, and the first thing we need to do is define what health and wellness is. And we had a lot of conversation on it, but what we decided was that it was having the full use of all of your faculties. Now, there's a lot more to health and wellness than just physical. Let me tell you briefly about my story. I was having some health problems. My father had died in his 50s and had been suffering from the same problems, and they were bronchial asthma, emphysema type problems that prevented me from sleeping lying down. I had to sleep in an easy chair. My wife and kids would watch and see if it was going to be my last breath. I was living on puffers, inhalers, Ventolin, Provenolin. I was taking steroids like prednisone, which had terrible side effects, gave you cataracts. So when I started studying about health and wellness and longevity, and I ended up getting a degree in health sciences from the American Health Science Institute, and I started making changes in my life, and within 30 days, I had eliminated all of the pharmaceutical drugs. I can tell you from that day forward, I've had no pharmaceutical drugs, not even an aspirin. So some of the things that I'll be telling you here today are things that I personally experienced. And when we start talking about what the different aspects of health and wellness are, we've got the physical, the mental, the social, the environmental, and the spiritual. And Carlo wouldn't let me talk about all 32 of them tonight. So I'm just going to pick out a few things to talk about on each one of the items here. The first thing we talk about is what's a major cause of back pain? Sitting is one of the causes of back pain, and that causes poor posture. And when I say that, normally the audience sets up a little straighter while I'm talking. There's stress on the spine, on the neck, on the shoulders, and circulation throughout the body. Sitting increases the stress 40% more than standing. Now, what's the significance of the spoon? Well, if you looked at the chair, like the one I'm sitting in right now, they're shaped like a spoon, and they force your shoulders forward and your body down. That makes you unable to take a deep breath, so you're not getting as much oxygen as what you need. And if you look at the automobile, the chairs or the seats are shaped the same way. And when you get on the airplane, they're shaped the same way. So eventually your body thinks that is the preferred position. And so most people are kind of in that. You watch when they sit down in the chair, they basically slump. The end result is you may end up with a hump on your back, and eventually you keep bending further and further forward. So the cure is stretching and exercise. And that brings us to your first gift. It is a video of the stretches that I do every day, and I send that to every one of the attendees. Now let's talk a little bit about your second brain. Your second brain is actually your gut, the gastrointestinal tract, with genetic intelligence encoded in every one of your microbes. Now, it's estimated, oh, by the way, Hippocrates says all disease begins in the gut. It's estimated to be about 25 or 30 feet long. In addition to the normal gastrointestinal functions, it provides the protection from infection, relieves metabolism, stimulates hormonal production, and then manufactures the neurotransmitters in the brain. 80% of your immune system and most of the serotonin for mental health is located in the gut. The vagus nerve connects the gut to our brain. And most of the bacteria, good and bad, reside in the gut. So here's gift number 2. This is a book that's got my name on it, but most of the work was done by a physician friend of mine that's a specialist in digestion and nutrition. And it covers a variety of topics, as you see there: optimizing digestion, learning about your microbiome, how you affect the gut at birth, and your mind, action for health. Fantastic book. I'm sure that it's a ebook. Fantastic. I'm sure that you will enjoy it. Let's talk a little bit about stress management, because stress is one of the major causes of disease. So what causes stress? Well, work-related pressure, personal relationships, financial concerns, health issues, major life changes, environmental factors, daily hassles, internal pressures, and for the next 30 days, the elections. So how do you handle stress? Well, there's a lot of ways that people attempt to handle stress. They do it by breathing slow, deep breaths. That lowers your blood pressure and your heart rate. Listening to music, taking a quick walk, finding the sun. That also gives you that vitamin D3 you need. Give you a massage. Give yourself a massage, or massage each other. count backwards, stretch, rub your feet over a golf ball. Laugh out loud. It's amazing how much it reduces stress. And meditation. Now, that comes to our next gift, which is the gift of the tapping solution. That's just an app, and you can click on that app. I will send you that in the email, but also they have a lot of free stuff on there. It gets you oriented. You can buy specialized things, but great app for you. Now let's talk about wealth. Well, all business and life is about building relationships. That's a quote from Howard Partridge, and I'll talk about him a little bit later. So how does your dog know when you're going to give him a bath? Well, they spend all day eating and sleeping and playing and watching you. And when they hear you say, let's give the dog a bath, they dive underneath the couch. And the kids are the same way. They spend their time studying their mother. And they know when she's in a good mood so that they can ask for a cookie. We are the same way. When we hear certain words, it raises a red flag. And we say, that guy's trying to sell me something. Would you like to know what those words are? Well, those words are I, me, mine, we, us, our. Talking about yourself. People only care about two things. One is if you can solve a problem or if they help increase your income. So what should you say? Would it be okay if I just gave you a example? Do you know how? When you say, do you know how, that creates curiosity. It's like you say, I just found out. Do you know how most people? Are you part of most people? I guess so. So we have curiosity, and now we have inclusion. You're part of the conversation. And then we can talk about a problem, a common problem. Do you know how most people have a difficulty introducing themselves? And if we give a problem, we must also talk about a solution. Well, some people know the magic words that keep the conversation going. Some people know the magic words that keep the conversation going. What do you suppose they will ask next? Yes, you're right. What are those magic words? Well, we're here with all these people, and it takes a few minutes to go over them. Would it be okay if we got together tomorrow for coffee and see if we can help each other business? You never, ever want to try to sell something when you're in the networking environment. Just add value and offer to help them, give them a gift, and always set the appointment. Well, in our person-to-person arrangement, we say, it's your turn, and the audience gets to turn to the person that's next to them, if they're still speaking to them, and introduce themselves without saying, I, me, mine, we, us, our. So we went ahead and give it a try. Here's a sample again. I put that up on a screen for them so that they could kind of follow that. It's you may use whatever words you want to use, but the important thing is that you create the curiosity, have the inclusion, present a problem and a solution. Your fourth gift is a list of the top networking events in the greater Houston area here. Now we come to wisdom. So how do we learn? Well, most of us, we learn from books or audios or the people that we meet. Your gift number 5 is a list of the books that I recommend that you read that will help you to improve your business. So, people you meet, let me talk about some of my mentors. The first one is Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is kind of known as the grandfather of networking. He's passed away a few years ago, but most of the other people that I'll be talking about learned from Jim Rohn. For instance, next is Brian Tracy. He's probably the top sales trainer from all over the world. Written many books, and I've actually had him do presentations here in Houston. The last one he did, we had 850 people in that room, and I emceed the event there. Darren Hardy, he's the founder of the Success Magazine, and he interviewed people all over the world that were very successful. I told you I'd tell you about Howard Partridge. When Zig Ziglar had a stroke and he knew that the end wasn't too far away, he called in a consultant to find out what he should do with his company. And the consultant did his job. He came back and said, you ought to focus on small business. Now, Zig was, of course, an expert in marketing and sales and leadership and motivation, but he knew very little about small business, so he looked for a partner. The partner he chose was Howard Partridge. Howard is local here. He lives in Sugar Land. He is the exclusive international vice president of sales for the Zig Ziglar Corporation. Now, Zig Ziglar, of course, has passed away, but you see him fantastic. I enjoyed the time that I spent with him. Next to Tom Big Al Schreider. I know, he's not big, and his name's not Al, but he is the top networking skills trainer in the world. He used to spend 300 days out of the year teaching people how to improve their networking. Ruben Gonzalez is next. He is the 4 times Olympian in 4 different decades. And he's 60 years old now. And he's training for another Olympics. Very good friend of mine. Bill Walsh. I think he was rated number 8 in the world as business coaches. Jonathan Sprinkles. When people wanted to learn about presentations, they go to see Jonathan Sprinkles. He's written 13, 14 books, I guess, about them. Marshall Silver, the top business hypnotist in the world. Marshall generated over $200 million in that business. And he's hypnotized me a few times and taught me how to hypnotize others. John C. Maxwell. John Maxwell is the leadership guru, I guess. He's probably written more information, gave more presentations on leadership than anybody I know. Eric Swanson. Eric was a host of the Habitude Warrior conferences, which he did all over the country. I think I spoke at 3 of those. One of the things that we talk about is how to find a mentor. Now, my suggestion is you find a successful person who is doing what you want to do, or has done it, and started at a lower level in life than you did. You always hear, take a millionaire to lunch. I've done that a number of times. It's lonely at the top. These guys like to talk. Never ask them for help. Instead, what you do is find out what their hobbies or their charities are and offer to help them. What you'll do is build a relationship, and sooner or later you'll be able to talk to them about how they became successful and learn to apply it in your business. So that's gift number 6. Actually, you'll have to wait. It's a new book that's almost complete called Mentored by Millionaires. So you'll get a free copy of that when it comes out. So what did we learn today? Well, in wellness, we talked about relieving the back pain and how the gut was the second brain and how to handle stress management. In wealth, we talked about the wrong thing to say, the right thing to say, and how to say it. And in wisdom, what to read, who to meet, and your mentors. And then we have these gifts, the things about back pain, gut matters, stress management, networking events, recommended books, and that Mentored by Millionaires. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and allowing me to share with you. That's a photo of my badge, and it looks kind of faded, but it's not that way in real life. So look forward to this, and if you have an opportunity, every week we put out a newsletter called Connections Now News that has the top networking events in there. See if you can round up a copy of that. Thank you.